It's Hugo and Jake, they're coming to take a look at the Qur'an. So make no mistake, it's gonna be great, delivering more than comedy, that's what they wanna be. But honestly, it's fact from fiction, leaving lasting hits. When Hugo and Jake take faith and illustrate contradictions, create apostates to be great. Atheists make people who believe see the world in a different way. What's on the episode today? Take it away, Hugo and Jake. Loving the way they're splitting the fact from the fake, attempting to make those who hold faith reevaluate and wake up. But they just stay stuck and haters wait and stay in place. No time to waste. The Qur'an reload with Hugo and Jake.
Hello everyone, I'm Hugo.
And I'm Jake.
And this is the Qur'an Reloaded. Welcome back. We're in Surah number 6.
6.
Yeah, talking about
doing livestock. Still haven't been able to rub one out to some livestock verses, but I'm sure it's coming. Just like I will be.
Today we're going to be talking about a couple things. Namely, we're going to be talking about Muhammad kind of talking to God and asking, hey, I'm kind of frustrated. Why don't you send a miracle to show people that what I'm saying is true? And God's going to be like, fuck you, Muhammad.
I like that.
Yeah. So, without further ado, Sicc Surah, verse 30.
Do you think that, like, there's a sect of furries or something that only like to hear about animals, but when they see them, they're not sexually aroused?
That's probably a thing, yeah.
Okay. That's me.
If only you could see, when they are stationed before their Lord, he will say, is this not real? They will say, yes indeed, by our Lord. He will say, then taste the torment for having disbelieved. I'd like to point out that this is an amazing scene being set up by Muhammad, on which a person is received in heaven, initially to be judged by God.
Yeah.
God says to them, oh, I see you weren't a believer. Does this look real enough for you? And the person says, yeah, this looks pretty real. And God says, feel how real this fire is, bitch. And fucking... I
can respect that.
I can respect the theatricality involved there, God. I can respect the mob boss mentality.
Right. It also implies that he sort of gets off on the told you so aspect.
That's sadism, not just utility.
Right, yeah, exactly. Which, so that kind of lines up with how I believe the God of the Bible and the Qur'an actually are.
Yeah.
So...
consistency.
Yeah.
Losers are those who deny the encounter with God. Then, when the hour comes upon them suddenly, they will say, alas, for us, how we have neglected it. They will carry their burdens on their backs. Evil is what they carry. The life of this world is nothing but game and distraction, but the home of the hereafter is better for those who are righteous. Do you not understand? This is a pretty common theme that shows up in the Abrahamic religion specifically, and that is that of this world not being real, or at least not as real as the afterlife. Yeah. This is all a test, so don't worry about being poor or whatever now, because when you die you'll be rich, which I think is bad advice, considering dead people don't use money very often.
However, as a hopeless, poor person in the middle of a desert run by actual rapist marauders, that sounds pretty appealing.
Yeah.
Like, hey, it'll get better. You just gotta die. Right. Yeah, I mean, well, that's... you're laughing. That's what it is. You have to die first, so...
Human existence is pain.
Yeah.
We know that what they say grieves you. It is not you that they reject, but it is God's revelations that the wicked deny. Other messengers before you were rejected, but they endured rejection and persecution until our help came to them. There can be no change to God's words. News of the messengers has already reached you. If you find their rejection hard to bear, then if you can, seek a tunnel into the earth, or a stairway into heaven, and bring them a sign. Had God willed, he could have gathered them to guidance, so do not be ignorant. Muhammad is saying he's frustrated because people aren't listening to him.
Right.
God reassures him, there are people sent before me and people sent after, or there are people sent before you and people who will be sent after. They won't listen to either. And Muhammad's like, why don't you send like a miracle? And he's like, fuck you, that's why. That's what he's saying. Why don't you go into the earth or the heavens or pull out a miracle?
Right. And God's like, nah. He's basically asking for proof.
Yeah, which I don't think is unreasonable.
I don't either. I mean, why would you... Okay, if you're a god, why would you have your main guy, Muhammad, your prophet, why would you have even him desire proof? That seems like a flaw in the design.
Only those who listen will respond. As for the dead, God will resurrect them, then to him they will be returned. And they say, if only a sign could come down to him from his Lord. Say, God is able to send down a sign, but most of them do not know. There is no animal on land, nor a bird flying with its wings, but are communities like you. We neglect nothing in the scripture. Then to their Lord they will be gathered. Those who reject our revelations are deaf and dumb in total darkness. Whomever God wills, he leaves astray, and whomever he wills, he sets on a straight path.
So you got no choice.
Again, this point of free will. According to the Qur'an, this passage, this show, and our non-belief in the Qur'an are directly the will of Allah.
But
this
also,
show is the will of Allah.
But also, we're deaf and dumb for it.
Yes, even though it's
in the
God's
same.
will.
It's in 39. It's all in the same one. You're deaf and dumb, total darkness. But also, God leaves astray or gathers who he wills.
Yeah. So don't worry about it. None of this fucking matters.
Right.
You
were bound for hell or heaven regardless.
You have no input.
Yeah.
Say, have you considered, if God's punishment came upon you or the hour overtook you, would you call upon any other god if you are sincere?
Yes. None.
If I legitimately... You know what, though? I'll give the Quran this.
Yeah.
Half a point, because if I found myself all of a sudden in some other plane that I perceived to be hell, I'd probably start at the Abrahamic ones, because
Work
that's
your
what
way down?
Work your way down.
Yeah.
Once I start getting to, like, I don't know...
Vishnu.
Yeah. Then I'm probably gonna give up.
Yeah, I don't know enough of their names to... Just off the top of my head.
No.
What if it's like Thor, though? What if Thor's right?
That'd be fucking awesome.
Right? But then we have to die in glorious battle for that to work, so we almost have to hope for, like, the Red Dawn.
Is that relatively speaking? Because, I mean...
glorious for us would be, like, making it through a cheeseburger.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah,
then I'm tackling, like a 10-pound steak challenge or something, and then go out.
And then you just keel over.
Is that fine? Just checking. In fact, it is him you call upon. And if he wills, he will remove what you called him for, and you will forget what you idolized. We sent messengers to communities before you, and we afflicted them with suffering and hardship, that they may humble themselves.
Humble yourself. Here's some SARS. Take that, Japan. That was all Muhammad and Allah. Yeah.
If only, when our calamity came upon them, they humbled themselves, but their hearts hardened, and Satan made their deeds appear good to them.
Sorry about the bird flu. That was just Satan hardening your heart.
Remember swine flu?
Yeah!
That was a thing for like a year that
we
people
were all
were
gonna
worried
die,
about.
right? Were we all gonna die?
Yeah, and then,
Man, kind of missed that.
what was the recent one? Ebola.
Was H1N1 swine flu, though? It was.
Yeah.
Okay, Ebola. Yeah, we were gonna die from Ebola. I mean, eventually one of these has got to be right?
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like I'd rather be shot by some Koreans during Red Dawn, or Russia if you like the old one. And then I prefer Josh Peck, though. And then to like bleed from my eyes to death. If I had to choose, it's Korean gun.
Okay.
No? You're for the eye blood?
I haven't seen the newer Red Dawn.
Oh, it's just literally just Koreans instead of Russians. It's fun. You don't have to actually think about it. Would you rather be shot to death or bleed from your eyes to death?
Wait, in the remake of Red Dawn,
It's Koreans.
North Korea
I believe they're from the north
does
part.
a land invasion
Yeah!
of North America.
Yeah, but don't worry. Josh Peck and Thor are there to defend. Well, no. Well, Thor dies. And then Josh Peck is our only American hope.
Then when they disregarded what they were reminded of, we opened for them the gates of all things, until, when they delighted in what they were given, we seized them suddenly, and at once they were in despair. Thus the last remnant of the people who did wrong was cut off, and praise be to God, Lord of the worlds.
The worlds?
Yeah.
Which worlds?
It's just flowery language.
Is it?
Yeah, it's just
No.
Lord of,
I thought maybe there was some Martians involved here.
Well, I mean, Mars, they know Mars
Pretty
exists
rad.
at this point. They know other planets exist.
Well,
but
sure,
they
I'm just
write it
saying,
in the
like, is
Quran.
he Lord of that too?
Yeah.
What's he do there?
Uh,
What's God's day-to-day business at Mars? Sandstorms?
Fucking with Matt Damon.
Oh.
That's the Martian joke.
That's a really good reference.
You're welcome, 2015? 2016?
You could have easily gone, like, pumping farts into the linked astronaut in the Rocket Man. That's up to God.
That's not Rocket Man. Rocket Man.
That's Rocket Man.
No, I'm thinking of the Rocketeer.
Rocketeer's very different.
This-
Rocketeer happens on Earth, sir.
This conversation was a wild ride. Say, have you considered if God took away your hearing and your sight and set a seal on your hearts, what God other than God would restore them to you? Note how we explain the revelations in various ways, yet they still turn away.
Yeah. Note how good our arguments are. How can they not be perceptive to this?
Also, it's interesting to me in the translation. It's funny because they're just using God and God again, but really the translation should be if Allah took away your sight, who else could give it back but Allah?
Yeah.
Not your God, whatever their God they happen to be talking
Sure. Well, it was little G God, big G God in the passage here. But why would he take it in the first place just to give it back?
to. Prove a point.
What's the point? I can do that?
Allah's a dick?
Oh, well, yeah, then received.
Say, have you considered if God's punishment descended on you suddenly or gradually, would any be destroyed except the wrongdoing people?
Yes!
Yeah.
Constantly. Constantly, I think we can all agree that people that maybe aren't deserving of death, like children, die.
Also, Sodom and Gomorrah expressly in the Bible.
Yeah.
Sodom is the one that's doing wrong. Gomorrah, I believe, is just like...
They don't really talk about Gomorrah.
They don't talk about Gomorrah very much. It seems
It's a
almost...
twin city.
Yeah, it seems almost like... Oh, also that gets hit. Whoops.
What's a little collateral damage in God's eyes? He could just flood this place and redo it.
Which makes collateral damage anything but, I guess.
Yeah.
He would have to be, oh, this is going to kill this many people specifically.
Yeah, he would know. Yeah, never mind.
There's no such thing as collateral damage for God. He kills who he wants. We sent the messengers only as bearers of good news and as warners. Of good news, you say?
This all seems like bad news.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those who believe in reform have nothing to fear, nor shall they grieve. There you go. Reformers in Islam, please hurry. Please. But as for those who reject our revelations, torment will afflict them because of their defiance. Say, I do not say to you that I possess the treasuries of God, nor do I know the future. Nor do I say to you that I am an angel. I only follow what is inspired to me. Say, are the blind and the seeing alike? Do you not think? And warn with it those who fear to be gathered before their Lord. They have no protector or intercessor apart from him. Perhaps they will grow in piety. I have a feeling that Muhammad would not have known words like intercessor.
Yeah.
Even, like, I understand obviously you wouldn't have spoken English.
Sure.
Muhammad, the person, would not have had the vocabulary, I don't think, even within the region at the time, to know a big word like intercessory.
Maybe he said, guys, he'll, when the thing is happening and, like, he jumps in front. And someone's like, intercessor? I don't know what that means, but maybe.
All of that, but in Arabic.
Yeah. And with a child wife.
That was later, Jake, when he's much older. It's fine.
It's okay. Hey, I'm just saying. Muhammad won his bid to the top. Roy Moore ain't no Muhammad.
Oh, Alabama. Thanks for not electing a pedophile. I know it was only by 1%, but I'll fucking take it at this point.
Yeah.
Holy
That's
shit.
fine. Honestly, if you guys would just run another Republican, this could have been all much easier. But I'll take the small fuck you to Donald Trump as well.
And do not drive away those who call upon their Lord morning and evening, seeking his attention. You are not accountable for them in any way, nor are they accountable for you in any way. If you drive them away, you would be one of the unjust. Thus, we try some of them by means of others, and they may say, are these the ones whom God has favored from among us? Is God not aware of the appreciative? When those who believe in our revelations come to you, say, peace be upon you, your Lord has prescribed mercy for himself. Whoever among you does wrong out of ignorance, and then repents afterwards and reforms, he is forgiving and merciful. So, there's sort of conflicting messages here in that
sort of.
It's saying, all through previously in this chapter, some people are going to deny God no matter what, because they're ignorant or stubborn or whatever.
And also God forces that to happen.
And God forces that to happen. However, in this verse, it's expressly saying those who commit wrongdoing out of ignorance, and ignorance here would be not believing or knowing that Allah and his message is true, they're fine as long as they ask for forgiveness. Now, however, it's saying that once you die, they'll sort of slam shut, I guess, opportunity. Yeah. But that's the only point at which you get actual evidence, so That's contradictory. You can't say
Yep.
ignorance is an excuse except when it isn't.
Because even if you believe real hard, that's still, you're technically ignorant of the facts.
Right.
Because what if you believe, I don't know, heaven is red, and you get up there and it's actually yellow? Does that change your status? No, you're just ignorant of some sort of minutia, of course. The important thing is that you believe, but why? You didn't have evidence for either. Why does it matter the difference of ignorance? I don't know. It's silly to me. Obviously. Why do I even say that? Obviously it's silly to me.
Thus we explain the revelations and expose the path of the unrighteous. Say, I am forbidden from worshipping those you pray to besides God. Say, I will not follow your desires, else I would be lost and not be of those guided. Say, I stand on clear evidence for my Lord, and you have rejected him. I do not possess what you seek me to hasten. The decision belongs solely to God. He states the truth. He is the best of judges.
He's the best!
Also,
Because he's, omnipotent,
also,
omniscient.
this clear evidence.
Yeah. It helps.
Where?
Yeah.
I get it, Muhammad. You were visited by an angel in a cave. We aren't all so cavey.
Well, some of us are some of our caves are hats. You stare into them.
Joseph Smith joke. Nice.
Not really okay.
Say, if I possess what you seek me to hasten, the matter between you and me would have just been settled. God is well aware of the unjust. With him are the keys of the unseen. None knows them except he, and he knows everything on land and in sea. But fuck the air! Not a leaf falls, but he knows it, and there is not a single grain in the darkness of earth, nor is there anything wet or dry, but is in a clear record. I appreciate that, as far as this writer is concerned, there are two categories of things.
Wet and dry.
Wet and dry.
Moist things, we don't look at those.
No, that's wet.
Is a moist thing wet?
There is only wetness and the absence thereof.
Oh. Okay.
That's profound. Think about it.
Okay. Is ice dry or wet?
If it's completely solid with none of it melting on the outside, it's not wet. It's ice. It's solid.
Okay.
When you touch it, the heat from your finger is going to melt a little bit though and
so,
make it wet.
So then the wet part of the ice is wet, but the rest of it's dry? And that's how? Or is the whole block sullied and now is all wet?
Okay, the episode's over.
Yeah.
That's too much for me to think about.
I'm just saying, if you only have two categories, what about plasma? What's the sun? I don't know.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Is the sun wet?
That just blows my mind.
No, it's too hot.
It's too hot to be wet.
Moisture
Of
on the
course
sun.
not.
The sun is incredibly dry. What a
very
dumb
dry.
question. Anyway, you can always follow us on Twitter at Bible Reloaded.
You can follow Hugo Reloaded. His Twitter is extra dry. Mine is extra wet. You can also subscribe to the channel. Make sure you get more Qur'an goodness. It's got a nougaty center. It doesn't. I lied to you. If you like candy, I'm sorry. It's just a book.
We also have a Patreon if you want to help support the show. Go
Indeed
there.
we do. And if you haven't heard, they're not doing those charges that you were probably all pitchfork and torch about. A lot of people were. I'm just saying. A lot of people were upset.
That was a very foppish sentence you just said. Oh, those changes you were all pitchfork and torch about. You know.
I don't know. Twitter gets weird, man.
I know. It was just very funny the way you said it.
Okay. Fuck you.
Oh, you know, the people, and they get all pitchforky now
The
again.
commoners getting upset about things they don't understand because they are but serfs.
No, but I do think it's good that patrons
I agree.
not doing that.
I think so.
Yeah. Good for them for listening. Good for
Yeah.
them.
I
So,
like Patreon.
until next time, I'm Hugo.
Jake. We're just trying to turn them on now? Is it working?
The can's dry, but the inside's wet. So what's the can?
That's too much for me. That is too much to
What if
deal
we
with.
made a Mobius strip, and we took a drop of water,
Oh, God.
and we put it on it and kept moving it around until it was...
Wet. What's the answer?
I'm not on any drugs right now. This isn't fun.